So you're going to find yourself in one of those areas of networking and trying to connect. So it's important that you just not settle for isolation, but that you do the work, and you're going to deal with people who are in one of those four corners, and you get to look at the four corners of where they are, and you have to understand that they got there usually because of the dynamics of the interactions, because there's a lack of trust, and because you cannot build unity if there's no trust. If there's no trust, there can be no unity. So when there is a lack of trust, there's a lack of transparency. So people don't know if you're being truthful with them. Can they trust you? Can they believe what you're saying? Are you going to talk about them when they walk out of the room? Are you going to belittle them? Can they count on you? Because consistency breeds predictability and safety. In order to build unity, you have to have transparency and truth. After that, you have to have the love. We talked about it, the validation, and then you have to respect choices. Everyone gets to choose. And how beautiful is that? Because if you get to choose, then I can feel honored that you choose to be in relationship. You choose to be a part of this unit. No one is putting a gun to your head, but you voluntarily want to pour yourself into the ingredient of the family and with forgiveness. As I stated before, because of multi-generational influences, like Susie's family, she learned how to communicate, she learned how to be married, she learned all of her skills from her family. And it's important that you look at the genogram and do the work. Find out with your client, with yourself, or with the member in your church, the history of their family, because no one goes to the altar by themselves. No one forms a family by themselves. They're bringing in their experiences. So they're bringing in the value. What is the family value? They're bringing in, do we cut people off? When you look at people who cut people off, you can see histories of this is what happens. Someone gets mad, they stonewall, they go away, and they never come back. This is what happened. Someone gets to be verbally abusive and everyone else cowers down and they put up with it and they just function and dysfunction because that's just multi-generationally what has happened in the family. No one talks about emotions in this family. That's just what happens. So you get with your spouse and, either you're going to stonewall or you're both going to have that experience from your family because you haven't had the exposure. So you're going to have to re-educate yourself. You're going to have to get a genogram out and look at where is my family weak or where is my family strong. Let's look at the history of our family unit. Let's look at the history of marriages. Let's look at the divorces. Let's look at, are the women stronger than the men? Are the children subservient? Or do the children take responsibility while the parents get to be children again? Hello? Does that happen? What's going on with the finances in the unity? Is one person responsible for the unit? Because more families break up because of financial issues and lack of boundaries. They feel like your money is my money is mine, and the person who makes the most money becomes responsible to take care of everyone, and that becomes a financial hardship, and a lot of resentment comes into play. You can look at the genogram, which is just a study of the functioning of marriage, the functioning of historically on both sides. You can do from your grandparents to your parents and then to you, or even as far back as you can remember. But you'll look at all of the styles of relating. A genogram tells you a lot about the family functioning. And so I will put that into our package so that you're able to get a look at the genogram and so that you're able to get an understanding. And so importantly, just like with every language, whether it's English, Japanese, Latin, Vietnamese, Arabic, you learn your language from your family. And so the way you communicate becomes a unit style of communicating. Whether you shut off, and you don't communicate, whether you're loud, whether you're disrespectful, whatever it is, that is inherited. And you get to choose to learn a new language and how you're going to build your family. But it's important to look at the language of the family because that's part of the genogram. And again, like I mentioned before, and in this module with this, I know we touched on it briefly, but it's worth backing up again because I have seen this as the detriment of families. This is actually what caused the first murder. Cain killed Abel because of jealousy. There is no other weapon more powerful than jealousy because jealousy isolates its members, like I stated. It makes you feel like you are not connected. And if you're not connected, you're a dangerous person because that means you're not connected in love. And that means that you're not protective. And that means that you are now desperate and you may do anything outside of even disengaging from your family. Some family members murder other family members. Some family members sabotage other family members because of jealousy. It is an enemy to the family unit. It's so important that there is equality. Although you cannot treat people the same, you need to make sure you're given the same amount of audience, enough that they can handle. Some people do need more attention. So you find out what the person you're dealing with needs, and you make sure you're pouring into their cup equivalently so everyone is getting their needs met. Because when people are not getting their needs met, it's easy to identify that you have a favorite. And some parents are very, and throughout lineages, they're very overt about who the favorite child is or who the favorite grandchild is. And it creates disharmony and division in the family. It has to stop. If you want your family to be unified, there can be no favoritism. There can be no comparison, like I mentioned. They can't because everyone brings something different to the table. One cooks, one cleans, one is sensitive, one is helpful in different ways. Everyone has something to bring to the table, but it's usually the one who brings finances or special positive attention to the family that gets all the glory, or the one who has been favored in beauty, in recognition of their beauty or their talent, the outward gifts. But we have to celebrate our children and our grandchildren and spend time with them and find their specialty so that we can identify that and they don't feel disconnected from the family unit. You can exclude someone and make them just by not acknowledging and validating them and not allowing them a place at the table. Maybe they don't cook potato salad good. Maybe they don't cook dinner good. Find what they can do. Maybe they're the decorator. Maybe they're the one who's able to call everyone and get everyone together. Everyone needs to be validated, seen, heard, and understood. If we're going to be a unit, we have to celebrate and take contributions. One person may have more money, but if one person with the money pays for everything, it diminishes the integrity or the self-esteem of the other people. It may seem initially like, a free ride, but then eventually people will feel like, what do I contribute? Do I matter in this family? What do I have to give? They won't even notice if I isolate. They won't even notice if I disappear. Everyone needs to feel like we need you on this line. We need you in this family system. You make the family system better. And so we're not going to leave you out of the invitations. And we'll talk about boundaries because sometimes we have to freeze people's, ability to be around people because they're harmful. But other than that, we don't want to post things on Facebook where the whole family is enjoying it, but one person didn't get the invite. That wrecks relationships because it reinforces any inferiority or any feelings of self-doubt or shame. It creates more of that, and it's just not good. It creates the paranoia, and it increases a need to be perfect when being perfect is not even possible. Perfection is not possible. But when you're being excluded, You become paranoid that you're not good enough, and now you start to compete, and now you're anxious about perfecting everything that you do. And it further leads to self-esteem issues. And so that further causes isolation. And if you've done anything, if you've sexually abused someone, or you've done some shameful act, that can also put you on an island by yourself. And that becomes so disruptive to the unity process. And so we want to make sure that we're doing things that create unity. Boy, the Brown family, they're not alone. They have issues. But I bet if you listen and if you listen to the vignette and if you compare it, take a moment and think about it. After each module, I want you to think about it because we learn through processing. Process the dynamics of your family or the dynamics of the people you're working with, and you'll begin to see, oh, this is the problem. There's a jealousy issue. Oh, there's a multi-generational issue. Oh, there's a feeling of shame and isolation. There's comparison. There's a lack of core values. There's a lack of structure in the family because of divorce. People are operating outside of their roles. That is the challenge in the family. This has been Module 1, looking at the unity in the family.